faults. Faults are cracks in the rocks on the surface of the Earth. When the rocks move on either side of the crack, that makes an earthquake. There are different kinds of faults. One kind is where rocks are shoved away in an up-down movement. This is called a normal fault. A reverse fault has the same up-down movement as a normal fault, but one side is being pushed on top of the other side. The third fault type has a side-by-side movement, where the rocks slip past each other. This is called a strike-slip fault. The San Andreas Fault in California is a famous strike-slip fault. What makes quakes? The rocks on both sides of a fault are always under pressure. They're always pushing. They want to keep moving past each other. But sometimes they get stuck, and all that pressure has nowhere to go. And so the pressure builds up until there's way too much of it. Then, when the two sides finally do break free, all that pent-up pressure is released in a violent rush. The rocks move past each other very quickly, and that quick release of pressure is what causes an earthquake. Shake, rattle, and roll. Earthquakes start way down at a spot inside the crust called the focus, which is where rocks release their pent-up pressure along a fault line. During an earthquake, shock waves start at the focus and move outward in all directions.
Hey, what's all this talk about plates? Is it time to eat?
No, Ralphie. The surface of the Earth is made up of round, flat pieces called plates. These plates are like the pieces of a giant jigsaw puzzle. According to my research, the Earth is like this peach. The crust which we stand on is like the skin of the peach. The Earth's mantle is like the fruity part, and the hot core is like the peach pit.
Hey, when you're done with that, can I have it? I'm kinda hungry. Welcome!
Buildings are being built to survive even very big earthquakes. Each year, there are 4 times as many earthquakes in Japan as in California. Did you know that the Himalaya mountains are still growing? The temperature inside the Earth increases by 1 degree every 60 feet down. According to my research, earthquakes happen every day somewhere in the world, but only a few of them are strong enough to be felt. You know how faults have foot walls and hanging walls? They were named long ago by gold and silver miners, who walked on the footwall block and hung their lanterns on the hanging wall block. All earthquakes occur on faults, but we can't always see the fault on the surface of the ground. Buildings are being built to survive even very big earthquakes.
Set a what? Sediments are grains of sand that are made of other rocks or minerals. Sediments can get moved around by wind, rain, rivers, glaciers, and oceans. When the little grains of sand drop out of the wind, water, or ice, and are deposited on the ground, then that is called sedimentation. Those layers of sediment can get covered by other layers or strata, like the layers of a cake. The bottom layers of sediment can get scrunched down flat by the layers on top, and the weight from the strata on top eventually cements the tiny grains of sediment into solid rock. Each year, the United States loses 3.5 billion tons of soil through erosion. This amount of soil would fill a freight train 474,000 miles long. That's long enough to circle the planet 19 times at the equator. In the last 5 million years, the Colorado River cut almost 6,000 feet through the rocks of the Grand Canyon. Even Mars has canyons cutting into its surface. This probably means there were once rivers on Mars, even though there is no water there now. The oldest rocks in the Grand Canyon are at the very bottom, and they are 1.5 billion years old. Glaciers and ice sheets now occupy 10% of the Earth's surface. That's an area as large as South America. Each year, the United States loses 3.5 billion tons of soil through erosion.
The mid-ocean ridge is home to a very different group of animals that can only live in the deep, dark ocean near the hot water vents. This Earth kitchen is super cool.
Good news! Measuring the earthquakes from a volcano can tell us when it is likely to erupt. This can save lives by warning people to move away. In 1963, a new island volcano grew near Iceland. People watched as clouds of steam and red-hot cinders were shot out of the sea. In 1883, a volcano on Krakatoa in the Indian Ocean had 4 massive explosions. The explosions destroyed the island and could be heard 3,000 miles away. Did you know that some rocks like pumice can float on water? Tsunamis are gigantic waves that sometimes happen as a result of earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. The wave can travel a speed of up to 500 miles per hour. When Mount St. Helens exploded in 1980, it released as much energy as 500 atomic bombs. Check it out! Indonesia and the Philippines have more active volcanoes than any other country. Hey! Did you know that those dark patches you can see on the moon are actually huge lava flows?